You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, in today's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz said that a senior prosecutor failed to convince him that the FBI's 2016 investigation of Donald Trump campaign was improperly opened. He also revealed new details about internal tension among senior officials over the politically explosive case. But also what's interesting about his testimony is that Lindsey Graham focused on Democrats, so-called Democrats in the FBI, who were critical of Trump, but he said nothing about those same FBI agents who were elated that Trump won. Senator Kamala Harris, of course, no longer on the campaign trail. She was back in the chair, and let's just say she had no problem jamming up Horowitz and calling out Republicans on their BS.
General Horowitz, thank you for conducting your thorough investigation into the origins of the Department of Justice's Russia investigation. So your report makes clear that the FBI had a legitimate reason to investigate the Trump campaign. Is that correct?
That's true. There was sufficient predication.
And in addition, your office found no evidence that the FBI launched a politically motivated investigation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And another key finding was that the FBI committed several errors in his applications and in their applications to surveil Carter Page.
Or maybe more than several.
And as the FBI Director Wray himself has acknowledged, your investigation found serious FBI misconduct that needs to be addressed, and Director Wray also said that the FBI fully accepts your investigation's findings. Is that correct? On the other hand, Attorney General Barr has been highly critical of your findings. During the final stages of your investigation, he even embarked on his own personal investigation by meeting with foreign leaders in foreign lands, apparently in search of evidence that contradicts the fact that Russia interfered in the 2016 United States presidential election to benefit Trump. Clearly, Barr's investigation, which was launched to do the bidding of President Trump, has two objectives. One, to undermine the integrity of our intelligence community. The goal, to cast doubt on the finding that Russia interfered in the 2016 election in order to benefit the Trump campaign. And two, to intimidate the men and women of our intelligence community by suggesting that our national security professionals will face serious consequences if they investigate wrongdoing on the part of this president or his operatives. So, General Horowitz, I appreciate your extensive work and the work that your office has devoted to this investigation. But in addition, you have the power and the duty to investigate misconduct committed by the Attorney General of the United States, who is doing the bidding of the President to undermine our intelligence community. And I trust you take that duty seriously.
I do, and I'd just like to add that under the law, under the Inspector General Act, it carves out from my authority the ability to look at misconduct by department lawyers from the line lawyer all the way to the top and the Attorney General.
But history has also shown us that the Inspector General can participate in an investigation of the Attorney General, and that in fact happened with General Gonzalez. Do you recall that?
That happened, and it's worth noting, that happened after the Attorney General said our office was not going to get the case, that it was going to go to the Office of Professional Responsibility, and the choice for our office was whether to join that investigation or not. But that wasn't initiated through us.
So
that's the important point. The law has to change, Senator, and it should change.
So are you recommending the law?
Absolutely.
If I propose legislation that would change the law, would you support that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's legislation Senator Lee has sponsored, several members have co-sponsored. The House has passed this unanimously.
And you would support it?
Absolutely, 100%.
So it was recently reported that the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, asked Ukrainians to help search for dirt of the political rivals of the president. In exchange for the help, Giuliani offered to help fix criminal cases against them at DOJ. Giuliani and his associates, two of whom have been indicted and are now in federal custody, allegedly reached out to a Ukrainian energy tycoon who faced legal problems in America. In exchange for helping find dirt on the president's political rivals, Giuliani's associates reportedly connected the Ukrainian with lawyers who could get a top-level meeting at the United States Department of Justice. In essence, Giuliani's scheme was an attempt to trade get-out-of-jail-free cards for political favors. As part of Giuliani's plan, Attorney General Barr met with the Ukrainians' lawyers, who asked that the Department of Justice withdraw evidence in the tycoon's bribery prosecution. Earlier today, you said you are not investigating matters related to ongoing Ukraine issues. Does that mean that you have decided not to investigate these incidents?
No. As I think mentioned in a recent letter, and I've been in touch with fellow IGs who've been asked by members to look at those issues. We've been in communication with each other. I think as Mr. Fine, the Defense Department IG, wrote to several members of Congress, he was foregoing at the time undertaking any work while the House investigation proceeded and any matters here in the Senate. And, as I mentioned, we will look accordingly at any action that we have the jurisdiction to review, getting back to the Section 80 discussion. No other IG has that limitation, by the way. So they can investigate their secretary, deputy secretary, administrator, whomever. I just point that out because that's important to keep in mind as we get requests. And why are we different than the State Department IG, the EPA IG, the other IGs?
Couldn't agree with you more.
Joining me right now is Amisha Cross, political commentator and Democratic strategist. Also, A. Scott Bolden, former chair, National Bar Association Political Action Committee. Chris Metzler, he, of course, conservative analyst. And Monique Presley, also legal analyst, crisis manager. All right, three lawyers and Amisha. So, Amisha, I'm going to start with you.
Why you got to start with her?
Why you got to start with her? What's that?
Had a more
easy, because it's my show. So, Amisha.
There you go. It's his show.
What's interesting about this is you saw, we didn't show, but the ranting and ravings of lunatics like Ted Cruz, calling it a Russian hoax, which is foolish because you got the guy saying, no, we actually did an investigation. You got Donald Trump calling this whole thing a sham. You got Lindsey Graham blasting what he called bias among people in the FBI who supported Clinton, but he conveniently ignored the people where they actually uncovered the text messages of people who were elated that Trump won as well. But what do you make of that part, which I think is important, that out of all the departments, Inspector General cannot investigate the Attorney General?
This is an interesting thing to note, and I think that, America is really understanding now why a lot of people want to see Kamala still in the race, but we're seeing that she's really taking a very strong stance here. And I think that having the IG really speak out to legislation that he would have supported that would actually change the current law, even though much of that is on the books in terms of moving through Congress already, is very interesting right now because Republicans, by and large, have not been very supportive of it anyway. So hearing him give that astute observation, I think, is strong. But more importantly, I think that Kamala's line of questioning, making sure that she was, one, being very attentive to the case at hand, but also really drawing him in. And as you stated earlier, with some of the congressional leadership that has spoken, a lot of this turned into a partisan hat fight. What Kamala Harris did was not that.
Monique, here's what's interesting to me. You have Attorney General Bob Barr running around, giving interviews, commenting on existing cases, essentially operating as the White House press secretary in all of this. Acting in a behavior that goes far outside the role of an attorney general. And clearly he is not impartial. Clearly he is not someone who any of us can really trust on this whole deal. And not only that, to hear the IG say a bill's already been passed unanimously, but of course it's one of the more than 300 sitting on the desk of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Yes, and that's the one-two punch. So in Attorney General Barr, his lack of impartiality is not really the problem. He's not supposed to be impartial. He's supposed to be partial on behalf of the citizens of the United States of America. He works for us. He is supposed to be the head lawyer who advances our interests, and instead he's a partisan hack on part of President Trump. And it again it mystifies me because anyone that they put in that position, it doesn't matter how many accomplishments they have, the closer people get to that orbit, it seems obvious either what was always in them or what becomes them changes, and they no longer have ethics or principles or any of the things that would be necessary. That, in fairness, he displayed in that very same role. I mean, he's had the job before.
It's his second
and
time.
did the job completely differently, and that is part of the Trump corrosive, corrupt administration. And no, those bills are not going to go anywhere because McConnell, the ultimate person who, if there were impeachment, Roland, he would be at the top of my list of people who should be impeached. It would be Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell because it's his show. It's his show.
Chris, what is interesting here is to watch Republicans. I'm just mystified at the party that exalted the Lord himself, Ronald Reagan, put him up literally right under Jesus Christ, is a party that is carrying the water of Russia.
Well, so here's the issue. The issue really is Republicans are not afraid of Trump. What Republicans are afraid of is Trump's base. They are afraid, rather than deal with the issues that are coming forward, their issue is, am I going to lose my seat? That's the issue here. So from the standpoint of where we are right now as a party, the conversation has to be, how do we survive as a party with this kind of behavior? Because from my perspective, as a Reagan Republican, I'm like, okay, what's really going on right here?
But is there a difference between the base and Trump? Aren't they one and the same?
Well, they're one
You're
and the
just
same.
splitting hairs.
No. Yeah, you're right. They're one and the same. Mm-hmm. But the issue becomes, are they going to be challenged in a primary? See, we've gotten to the point in America where the issue is more about our seats. The issue is more about control and power.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, as the marijuana momentum continues, our folks at marijuanastock.org have already reached more than half of their funding goal for the hemp CBD investment. So if you want to take advantage, you better get in now. Of course, hemp is a cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana, but it won't get you high. Scott is sad. Now, folks, if you don't know, hemp farming is now legal in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. It's an investment opportunity for you and the full folks at 420 Real Estate have a simple business model. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants, people like Chris. They are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Now, all you got to do is invest as little as $200. Monique, you got that. In their crowdfunding campaign, up to $10,000. Amisha, some of that Sinclair money. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.